does team investing work? How do you work within a team? How do you find stocks that way? And how is that, is that similar, like outside of the pool, is that similar to an investing club or something? How could someone outside the pool use that team approach?
Well, I think I have the good fortune of being part of both Team Tom and Team David, so I get to see it on both sides of the coin. But I think that the team approach is really helpful for a number of reasons. Number one, because there's so many companies out there, there's so much research to be done, and so many ideas to vet that it's really not practical just to expect one person to be able to do it all. So really taking advantage of a number of people, really the collective, and being able to bring all of that intelligence, all of that research, all of those perspectives into one room with a group of 5 or 6 people is extremely helpful. Now, I will say probably most of the best ideas that we come up with, most of the recommendations that are the best ideas that we get out there they're recommendations that we don't actually all agree. And I think that's really important to understand that we try not to get stuck in sort of that groupthink mentality. If we're all 6 or all 7 of us on board with an investment, we all agree, that's our first red flag to say, okay, wait a minute, what are we missing here? Right? And so we sort of adopt that Charlie Munger mentality. Charlie Munger is Warren Buffett's right-hand man with Berkshire Hathaway, and he's famous for saying, invert, always invert. Turn it upside down there. How can the company fail? So we want to look at how investments can fail right there. And if we're all agreeing that it's successful, a great idea, well, then we want to start inverting and trying to figure out how it can fail. So really, I think a lot of the best ideas come from when we actually disagree, because then it brings more questions to the surface and we really thoroughly vet these ideas.
Do you have any examples of something that there was a lot of disagreement about that turned out to be a good investment?
Well, yeah, I think that Amazon's a terrific example, actually, because there's one side of the coin that really looks at Amazon and says, all these guys do is just run this model with these razor-thin margins. They just are never profitable, and we don't understand why the stock trades for such a high valuation. It just doesn't make any sense. They just don't make any money. The other side of the coin there that says, look, Amazon's bringing in somewhere in the neighborhood of $60 billion in sales a year. They're far more than just a retail company. There's Amazon Web Services. Jeff Bezos is just stringing along this entire Kindle franchise, building these things that we didn't even really know we wanted yet. And so we look at that from both sides of the coin and say, okay, well, maybe the valuation is a little bit eccentric, but it does seem like there also may be a very good reason for that. I mean, if Amazon closed its doors tomorrow, it would have a worldly impact. I mean, the entire world would be affected in some capacity. And so when you find companies like that, yes, it's a great, healthy debate, but I think that that's really what gets us to talk more about the company's strengths and weaknesses.